Hello and welcome back to another video on Reddit React. Today, as the weekend was the Austrian Grand Prix, we're reacting to memes on the Austrian Grand Prix. So let's go to Reddit. US Air Force supporting Max Verstappen during Vietnam Grand Prix with Agent Orange. So now I understand. Because Max Verstappen, if you didn't watch the Grand Prix, a ton of his fans were having orange flares and waving them around and saying, "Wave Max Verstappen." And they were also doing other things, but we are not getting into that. But so the Vietnam Grand Prix was going to happen in 2020, but due to COVID and reasons, it wasn't held in 2020, and then due to, I think it was some things with the organizer, like had some fraud allegations, like Bernie Ecclestone. They are not holding it there, but I think why they're saying Vietnam Grand Prix is this is a meme reflecting on on the Vietnam War, which might be quite obvious, but yeah. Small price to pay. Mattia Benotto, I want the boy to win. A sacrifice is needed. So if you didn't know, if you open the image, a new tab, here we have Carlos Sainz, whose engine actually ignited quite heavily whilst the Grand Prix was happening. What I mean by that is it was chasing Max Verstappen until he ran into issues where the engine exploded. And he couldn't get out of the car, nothing to do with he wasn't able to, but if he had gone out, because Spielberg is on a mountain range in the Alps, where he parked the car was like up a hill. So if he let go of the brake, the car would go back down again, which isn't good. So he had to wait for a marshal, which took a very long time for the marshal to come down and put actually a stop so he could jump out of the cubs, which I think should be fixed. Sith Lord Marco eyeing the next chosen one. So I think this is a little bit of a meme. I haven't watched Star Wars, but my few of my friends have, so I hope I don't say anything incorrect. But what I believe was that this is Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, and then General Grievous, I think he's called, and then this guy. Both of these on the good side. He's technically on both sides, but then he recruits Anakin to the bad side and becomes Darth Vader. So I think that's what's happening. What they're looking at is that Helmut Marko is eyeing up Toto Wolff's son Jack, I believe he's called, I'm not fully sure, to become the new Red Bull Sith Lord. We never know. Ralle over everyone else. You support Mick because he's Michael's son. I support Mick because he's Ralph's nephew. We are not the same. Yeah. So that's just a funny meme, but he was a really good driver the last two races. Like in Silverstone, he really should have gotten 7th over Max Verstappen, but due to some weird inconsistencies with the FIA and their rulings, it did not happen. But then in Austria, he also showed that in the sprint race, he was really good at defending against Hamilton, and really was good during the race with both attacking and defending. I think he became 6th in the end, but hopefully it's his consistency even gets better and prolonged. The F1 community after this weekend. What's the meme? There are only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. Well, a bit, I think this is to say what I was talking about, where that on Twitter there were a lot of what's it called? There were a lot of allegations, so all of this is alleged, that the Dutch Grand Prix fans, mostly the Max Verstappen, well, the Dutch fans of the who were there at the Austrian Grand Prix, were what's it called, being homophobic and generally just being quite abusive towards other fans and females and other staff members actually worked there. So Mercedes allowed one of the women on Twitter said she was abused to come into the garage, but yeah, it was a bit of a shambles. So hopefully the Formula One improves it and we don't see same things happening in the Dutch Grand Prix, because it was mainly Max Verstappen fans who were at the Austrian Grand Prix. And I don't want to throw any allegations out there, but most of these things we hear are in some way connected to Verstappen, but not him. Like, he is not racist. I think he's fine. He's definitely not a racist to any extent, but some of his fans are a bit problematic. So hopefully that gets changed soon and we all can be, what's it called, we all can respect each other. If Formula One were truck drivers, oh my god. Verstappen looks a bit like a fat uncle sort. No, your fat dad. He looks a bit like Jos there, if we check. Yeah, look. Jos Verstappen isn't fat, I should say. But he's a bit, what's it called, more round than Verstappen is, especially in the face. So that I can see. He looks like that cool. He looks like a cool American trucker. He looks real fine. And then Hamilton looks like some uncle, as maybe certain people would call it. But he looks like some odd. He looks a bit like a bus driver. Maybe I think I've seen in a few movies. He looks like George looks like some typical British bloke. Carlos Sainz looks a bit like his father. If we look here, he looks a little bit like his father, in my opinion. But he still looks quite good. He looks like, what's it called? He looks also a bit like an American with a goatee, Charles Leclerc, and the glasses, in my opinion. Ocon, I can't fully describe it, but he looks also quite cool. Alonso looks like he has been too much at the what's it called? A la carte restaurant. Joe looks, I can't put them they look like they would be like hanging out in, they look like lumberjacks a bit. Like Lumberjack Joe and Lumberjack Bottas. Ricciardo looks real cool with all of the, he looks like a bit like Hamilton, I should say. But like a Mick, like Hamilton with cool sunglasses, he would be the cool uncle too. And they have Norris, he looks like Gary V, if you know him, without any hair. He looks exactly like wait. In my opinion, if we look here, no, he looks a little bit like Eddie Hall, but he looks more like the guy on the left. He looks a bit like him, actually. Strong man confirmed. And then you have Kevin Magnussen, just looks like himself, just a bit chubbier. Vettel looks, yeah, a bit like him, but chubbier. I have no clue what Lance Stroll looks like, but he looks a bit odd. Then you have Beer. Oh my god, he looks really odd. He is a real... Yuki looks distressed there, which is quite interesting. And then you have, yeah, Albon looking the same, and just Latifi looking more like a goat than what he already is. How it feels to be Dutch right now, me as a Dutch fan watching from home. Are we the baddies? But this is the thing, which is a big problem in just normal society. So, because this is a motorsport channel, I won't fully talk about it. But generalization is generally, well, most of the time really bad to do. We've seen countless examples of it. Won't take any up because this is a motorsport channel. And to relate it to motorsport, this is not, you shouldn't say all Dutch fans are bad, but some of them, or even a lot of them, are. Another crushing blow to the Hamilton agenda. Lewis Hamilton, after finding out that the £20 million he has given to multiple charities doesn't really count because you/Max for Trump 88 thinks it's virtue signaling. What does virtue signaling? Okay, so if you don't know what virtue signaling means, it basically says that he's donating to look good, not because he is good. Which I think is a bit ridiculous, but a ton of people on Reddit have these weird things. Max will trouble them out. Don't forget the 88. Now I wonder what those qubits have to do with all of this. Oh well, that's what happens sometimes in the F1's Formula Dank subreddit. Haas. I have slept with 2 former presidents. I speak 4 languages and I own 2 Monets. Monets. I have no idea. I did double points in Austria. Well, I think when I was thinking this, I speak 4 languages. I think Toto can, because he can speak English, German, French. I don't know if he speaks Italian, but he speaks quite a few languages. Gunther Steiner, I believe, too, but his memes are very funny. If we don't see any boat memes here, I will definitely show. Okay, Nico Rosberg, 2016 Formula 1 World Champion, who betters Lewis Hamilton in the same machinery, by the way, also monster antibody. Question for someone on an IG live to Nico Rosberg. Which driver do you support? Nico Rosberg. I support Lewis, actually. The better it does, the better it looks on me since I beat him in 2016. I don't want to be that Lewis Hamilton fan, but I think a lot of other people have also said this, but it really sounds like that. Lewis Hamilton is in Nico Rosberg's brain and lives there rent-free, which is interesting to see, actually. But you know, who knows if Nico Rosberg actually cares about Hamilton after what happened in 2016, but hopefully they get the relationship back. This is an interesting video. Captioned, my amazing view of the Austrian Grand Prix. This is a problem, actually. This is what I was thinking. Because if we think about it, when I went to Silverstone, actually, vlog coming in 2 weeks, for you still watching, there were no bans on flares, if I could remember, but there wasn't any checks for it. They just opened the bag, checked a bit. They didn't check your body or anything, so you could just sneakily get in them, and this is a problem in F1, because if you have flares, nobody behind you can actually see anything, which isn't good for the actual atmosphere. So I would say they should ban these flares, because it has big problems. So the last meme here, when someone uploads a really 3D video without the YouTube link, all of r/Formula Dank. No. So if you don't know really 3D, watch my other, what's it called, Reddit Tracks, the latest one, the Canadian Grand Prix. There really 3D is included, and that's a really funny video. But we has to always be mentioned in any of my videos. But now, well, in Reddit Tracks, but now it is time for my race review. Okay, so we have watched memes, but what do I actually think about the Austrian Grand Prix? Well, I think this, because I was in Silverstone, as you heard, I didn't fully experience the race. Well, I experienced it, but I couldn't fully see it and understand everything, which made it, but I've heard that it was a really good race. But then in Austria, I thought it was really fun, because everyone was really close, and it was a bit of drama with certain crashes and everything, like lap 1. But also, I remember it was 5 cars had like were within like a tenth of each other going into one corner into turn 3. They're basically hairpin, which means that the fighting was a lot, and then you had a lot of drama, as I said before. So I think it was a really good race. But the next race will be in France, but hopefully it brings as much or even more action than what it did last year. But my next video will be on another video of my, what's it called, should Formula 1 go to this track? So last time it was Watkins Glen. Next week it will be a German circuit, which will be something to do with a ring. Hope to see you there. But until then, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing guest. Thank you for watching. Good.